Hi guys, this is Bernhard Geberger from TANGO Racing in Vienna. I want to talk you through my TANGO Racing simulator. I'm using this simulator for my sim racing activities, but if you happen to be in Vienna or you're visiting Vienna, you can book your session and have a go yourself in this simulator. Sim racing 2020 was a bit of a difficult year for us, but in the Nürburgring Endurance Championship we managed to finish P2 in the overall standings of the GT3 class, so we are quite happy with that. You see a Ferrari 488 here in the simulation. This is the car I'm using most when driving sim racing. Most of the time I'm using this Ferrari Replica wheel, as well as some special hardware for featuring a Ferrari, like the Ferrari outlets. Here you see that the air diffuser, it's actually from the real Ferrari. Got this used on eBay. So if you're looking for an air solution for your sim rig, this is something you might consider to look in eBay or some automotive hardware stores for actually car parts. Well, there's a Stream Deck for a shortcut to some programs, a keyboard with backlit, movable, quite flexible to be convenient, headset. What is completely new now in this simulator for this year, because Microsoft introduced a flight simulator. So this is not semi-professional, it's just pure hobby, but I used to fly a little bit. So I got some hardware for using Microsoft Flight Simulator as well. So this is an MFG crosswind rudder pedals. So they work as pedals like in the plane. What I do is I move back the seat all the way, and then I have basically a second set of controls: the rudder pedals, the throttle on this left side, and the hotter stick on the right side. This is basically a little bit interfering with the car controls, but as I said, it's either or, so I move back and use the flight controls. Or this is detachable, so I demount this if I want to use the shifters for the racing cars. And that's another new thing. You notice or you remember last year I used the FANATEC 8 shifter. So finally I pulled the trigger for the, in this case, limited edition black gold Pro Sim 8 shifter. So really happy with this one. I'll try to use it so you get an idea. So you can adjust almost anything on this thing. It has a nice solid sound. Really happy with this. You can go rear, front or right or back. And then it's 6 gears to go through this. Yeah, it's now the 8 shifter was the last piece, which was a little bit not on par with the other controls. I managed to try to get the pedals. Pedals are Heusinkveld Ultimates. Nothing changed here. I'm really happy with them. Same for the handbrake and sequential shifter. Big ones for using rally or rallycross style. This handbrake and this sequential shifter. Because it came in a pack, I also have the small one, sequential shifter from Heusinkveld. Basically this is for old Formula 1 cars, but I hardly use it, to be honest. There's a tablet showing in-race timing information, quite helpful, because the fourth screen above the simulator, I use this when I start the simulation, but when I drive, I'm going to switch this off because it's much more immersive not to have it. So I configured, let me see if I can get you this. I configured the push button here to switch off the information screen. And now when you're in the car, it's much more immersive because there is no like bright screen on top of the triple screens. So if you sit in the car, it's nicely black above the triple screens. Also, I changed that there used to be ASUS bezel kit installed. I got rid of them again because on the first glance it looks really nice to have them installed. It looks like one big screen without the bezels. But I noticed in some situations it's quite an issue, especially when you go around the tight turn. And the apex happens to be around the position of the bezels. Like this, you have a bezel, but you see that if the apex is coming here, then it's behind the bezel and it will show up on this side, and it's very predictable if you move through the corner. With the bezel kit installed, it's basically obfuscating the bezel by copying part of the screen. And by doing that, if an apex is moving from the left to the right screen, there are some weird optic situations happening, and I found it very difficult to hit the apex when it's exactly left or right to the bezel. And to me, it's much more precise to actually have this without the bezel kit installed, so that's the reason I got rid of it again. Otherwise, not too much changes going on here. I think still the Simucube 2 Ultimate. Lots of people are asking why I'm still using Simucube or FANATEC Direct Drive 2. It's simply because of the combination of the full motion, so that's a D-box for actuators kit, and so the whole cockpit, the seat, the pedals, the wheel, everything is moving, and the screens are stationary. So I have to work on this distance between the moving cockpit and the screens. You want this to be so as small as possible, but since the full motion cockpit is going to move up and down, this is you fight for every millimeter here. And the Simucube Ultimate is smaller than the Pro Sport or FANATEC drive. So that's the main reason, as well as I'm using a wheel shaft extension, and that's not possible with the direct drive or FANATEC. So otherwise, I would be perfectly happy with the DD2 from FANATEC as well. I don't think there's a massive difference between those two. Now the sun is coming up. But yeah, so the mounting position and flexibility is the main reason why I'm using this, no other reason. Otherwise, I'm quite happy now with the latest firmware updates. Basically, it's nicely usable. It can be turned off all the time at the moment. So before that, it started to beep all the time, which I found quite annoying. So now with the new firmware, you can activate it all the time without the beeping. Button boxes, like they used to be. I will close in so you have an idea of how I use them, and maybe you find this helpful. So this is more for communication, TeamSpeak channels, in-game radio, messages. And that one is more for car control and pit stops. Ignition, starter, eject. Eject means pause or stop. It's not ejecting. That's the buttons on the wheel. I don't know if you're going to be able to read this, but maybe it is helpful. And then there's a bunch of different wheels. There's also something new with the wheel. Let's see if I can show you that. So I will try to put this here and show you the wheels. Let me try to get in here now. So I hope you see this. They're the old ones I used to have. It's a FANATEC Porsche wheel. That's I think the only wheel which is standard, not modified in any way. I use it not enough. Same for the BMW, fantastic wheel, I really like it, but I hardly use it nowadays. It has a magnetic shifter modification from SRM, so that's an easy option. Then there's a rather old, you will know this, FANATEC Formula rim, black, modified with carbon magnetic shifters. Those are ASCHER shifters. Very nice wheel, I really like those with these shifters. Formula, one of the projects for this year, I'm thinking of setting up a new Formula 1 or open wheeler cockpit. So something like this, but this is a GT driving position. So like you would find in a GT car. So quite upright and the pedals a little bit more down. And what I'm looking for is, because a lot of customers, they like to drive open wheelers. And so I plan to build a new cockpit with a lean back Formula chair and the pedals up, very much up, very high up. So you have a really lean back Formula driving position. And then obviously the Formula rim is going to be used more. Well, there's rally or drifting wheel, just a simple round one. It's actually a car wheel from Momo. There's a classic replica for a little bit dusty, don't use it too much. Wooden rim for old timers and classic cars. Then real BMW M5 wheel, that's from the real BMW M5, custom modified to be used on the simulator. And the McLAREN GT3 replica from FANATEC. The original one still working perfectly fine here on my side. This is the SRM conversion kit, so you can use FANATEC wheels on the Simucube. And the last new thing for this year, 2020, is an Audi or Lamborghini replica wheel with a funky switch. So it's basically an alternative to this. If I'm not driving Ferrari but Audi or Lamborghini, I might use this wheel. So also magnetic shifters, extension, and Buchfink quick release. Nice wheel too. So I think that's it. Otherwise, still a lot of vibration going on. I still keep the 8 SimVibe vibration. I always forget the name of those. Despite they're not doing too much on this massive rig. I'm really still very, very happy with the D-Box. So I recommend anybody who is interested in full motion to consider D-Box systems. And yes, plan for 2021. Obviously, I'm going for the new graphic cards. Might be the strongest NVIDIA or more likely the fastest AMG graphics card. Probably 3 faster screens for the triple screen setup. And as I said already, I'm planning a new open wheeler Formula 1 style cockpit. So completely new, again, cockpits. I always work with SIMLAB. I think they have the best products, not the cheapest, but I really think the best. So I'm going to, like this one is a SIMLAB P1X, but highly modified and customized. I'm going to have another one and modify this massively for open wheel cockpit. So I plan to build some kind of cockpit from the profiles already, put the pedals way up, and accompany or establish like an open wheeler driving position. And I think I will go with a wide screen, like one of the 49-inch, one single screen, but very, very wide. And I think this should be very fine for the open wheel simulator. So hopefully this will be available in 2021. If you happen to visit Vienna or live in Vienna, feel free to get in touch with me. You can have a go on this simulator anytime. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.